On all Red Nation, NBA fans everywhere who are tuning in here in August, or even if you're watching this video much later, whether it's September, October, hey, stay tuned into this video and check out the other ones. This is Rockets Daily, brought to you by Fan Arch. My name is David Delano. We are here to bring you the best Rockets coverage that we can each day, and this is going to also be a show for the people. Here to talk about the Houston Rockets and loving the comments throughout the off season and for all of your engagement. And today's show is going to be heavily driven with relevant topics to the Houston Rockets. And a shout out to Tom Johns. Thanks so much, brother, for watching. Thanks so much for your feedback and comments. And we're going to be diving into the different lineups that the Rockets may be going through. And also we're going to be diving into our Rockets history. So no matter how long you've been a Rockets fan, whether from the very beginning, even if you go back to the San Diego Rockets days, this might be a nice time to go down memory lane. If like most of us, or a lot of us, I shouldn't say most of us, because I'm not sure how far back it goes for everybody. But you may not remember some of these things through history, or may not have known about them. You may have little heard about them, seen names up in the rafters, and not. This may be I've learned a lot. I will just say that. Let's go ahead and get into this episode of Rockets Daily. Appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel. Everybody watching, thanks so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, we still appreciate you being here. But if you could just go ahead and hit that subscribe button, we definitely would love that. So Rockets, talk of the NBA, and in so many different ways this off season. A lot of moves on the team, mostly staying with the identity on the defensive side after the huge offensive move was made, of course, as Jalen Green was moved along with Dillon Brooks for Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, now a Houston Rocket. And a lot of additional signings that were not expected, like Clint Capella, adding to depth at the center position. Steven Adams coming back, Jeff Green coming back. We're going to really get deep into this roster. Aaron Holiday coming back. We got Josh Okogie added on to this team. Fred VanVleet coming back. We're going to, instead of just going through this whole roster, we're going to go through this whole roster in a moment. And one of the questions asked was about as far as talking about the starting lineup for this team in preseason and in the regular season, and some of the different lineups that we may see. And one thing that the front office has done an excellent job with is, it's all about matchups in the NBA, health, matchups, and this is a team, this is a roster that is going to be built to really match up against pretty much anybody in the NBA. Not with the exact same lineup, but a lot of different lineups that you can throw out there that'll help match up with just about anyone. All right, so as we go ahead and look at what the potential starting lineup could be for regular season, more so than preseason, we've just got 4 preseason games. Expected lineup right now as of opening night: point guard Fred VanVleet, expected to, I think that's, unless barring injury, I think that's pretty much a shoe-in starting point guard. We talk about that a lot, of how much is going to be dependent on Fred and the depth behind him, which we'll get into. And Thompson at shooting guard. Kevin Durant at small forward, which really, Durant shooting guard, Thompson small. However you want to put it, both of those guys on the floor starting, along with Jabari Smith Jr., and then along with Şengün as well. So that's probably going to be the starting 5, if healthy. The starting 5 that I'm expecting to see on opening night, and the starting 5 that I'm expecting to see against most lineups. This one's going to give you a good balance of veteran leadership, gives us our best scoring options without sacrificing too much of the defensive end, and three-point shooting, which was such a big issue for the team last year. Obviously, this gives us the best, with Fred, Kevin Durant opening things up. That's obviously Kevin Durant alone, regardless of everything else. I mean, Jabari Smith Jr., all those guys. Kevin Durant elevates it. This makes this the best three-point shooting lineup. Now, with this lineup, the rotation, you're looking off the bench. Who's going to be first off the bench? we mentioned the long, long odds for Reed Sheppard to win Sixth Man of the Year because Reed Sheppard's not. I can't say not definitively. I'm not putting the lineups in, but I don't see him being the sixth man. You look at the bench, Dorian Finney-Smith, obviously premier 3 and D guy. And we'll look at here as far as how and I think how a lot of people really see this depth chart looking at this point of the season. Point guard, Fred, locked in number 1. And then also you got Reed Sheppard, Aaron Holiday behind him. Reed right now I'd say number 2, Aaron Holiday number 3, but we'll see. I think that Reed's going to get that opportunity to be second string point guard, and we'll see how comfortable he is and how much run Aaron Holiday gets in different situations. Looking at Okogie being a shooting guard behind Thompson, small forward. You got Dorian Finney-Smith. And you've also got Tate, Deshaun Tate, who's probably going to see. He'll see minutes here and there, but it's probably going to be the third string a small forward there. Most of his action will probably see. Glad that he's still on the team, but yeah. Point power forward Jabari Smith Jr. You got Tari Eason going to be off the bench next, and then also Jeff Green, giving depth there, and a lot of depth, of course, as we all know, at the center position behind Şengün. We've got Steven Adams, Clint Capella. I think Steven Adams is going to be number 2 there, but it's really going to probably depend a lot on the matchup. So that is what we're looking at as far as, if healthy, opening day. Now, as far as the preseason goes, I think almost anything can really go there at that point. And really, just like Summer League, it's going to be obviously different. We'll see how much Kevin Durant actually even plays in the preseason. But what I'm expecting, at least as of now in the preseason, I'm expecting to see a lot of experimental lineups that we're going to get into here in just a second. I think we're going to see a lot of minutes for especially these newcomers off the bench. We're going to see a lot from the rookies. You even mentioned J.D. Davison. It's going to be interesting to see him out there, how he performs compared to how Reed performs. And I think that we're going to see some looks from this jumbo lineup and some different small ball lineups. And we're going to talk about there's a lot of different matchups with this roster, different ways that we can put this lineup together. One here, outside of the starting lineup, some potential situational matchups I want to talk about. One, as far as in the NBA now, with small ball being such a big thing, a potential, what could a Rockets small ball lineup look like? I think a lot of these lineups when it matters are going to consist of Fred VanVleet at point guard until Reed shows that he could step up and deserve more minutes. So, or they could play together. So we could look at a potential lineup if giving Reed early on in the season and maybe in preseason a lineup of Fred VanVleet, Reed Sheppard, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and then depending on how small you want to go, either going with Şengün or with Tari Eason, a potential small ball lineup there. I think that this is the type of lineup, a quick lineup that we could possibly see that could match up well against the Lakers, against the Golden State Warriors. I know we had success going big against the Warriors last year. Obviously, they're going to piece a lot of things together, but Lakers, Warriors, going up against the Pacers. And I'm not mentioning teams that are going to be a little bit... I'm not really mentioning the bottom feeders, right? I'm not... as far as when it comes to how that will match up. This is going to give us this lineup will give the Rockets a lot of spacing, a lot of quickness, and ability to switch on defense, which is Reed Sheppard, though. He's going to need to, it's going to be interesting because for the small lineups, if he's going to be out there with Fred, there's going to be a lot expected from him on the defensive end. Another one here, and remember we got a lot of different notes and things, looking at this jumbo lineup, this big lineup potentially that we're going to be excited to see, this bully ball lineup. I think Fred VanVleet going to be the point guard in a lot of different situations, but also, wonder, Thompson and Kevin Durant could see some point guard duties as well, but I'm thinking, Fred along with Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and then you go with either a combo with Steven Adams and Şengün, or maybe Steven Adams and Capella, maybe Şengün and Capella. We will definitely see how that goes. Now, this is the type of thinking long term. Only play the Cleveland Cavaliers twice during the regular season. This is the type of lineup that obviously we saw a big lineup be successful, have some success against the Warriors last season. I could potentially match this up against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's obviously the biggest team to overcome when they go out there with Hartenstein and Holmgren. Also, Cleveland Cavaliers, maybe down the road or even the regular season matchups, they've got Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Also, Dallas Mavericks, a team that has a lot of size. Well, teams that this big lineup can work well against. Looking at also defensively, you've got defensive lineups. See how this late in games, closing things out. When the offense, obviously you want offense, maybe not the biggest concern at times. You go in there with Adams and Capella, Adams or Capella. Go out there with Tari Eason, Dorian Finney-Smith, Josh Okogie, Amin Thompson. That is as strong as a defensive lineup as I think that you'll probably see anywhere in the NBA. Now, as far as like the floor spacing, won't be the greatest. So how much you'll play that's definitely going to be a disruptive, athletic lineup though that can cause some problems. I think it can match up with some of the different things that Oklahoma City can do. It can match up against some of the different things that the Warriors can do, especially what they like to do, with Draymond Green, coming in there. So it's a tough lineup, even down the road against Cleveland, against New York. Interesting thing. So there's a lot of different lineups. It's going to be a lot of fun to see these lineups throughout the season and the way that Udoka mixes and matches things together. Now, we'll get more into that, and if there's anything else that you feel about those lineups that you guys want to touch on, feel free. We're going to talk about the 1984-1985 season. And a couple days ago, we mentioned, Moses Malone getting traded away. Rockets 14-68 after that. 76ers won the championship. Bill Finch comes in the next year, 29-53. So this is where we started to see some of the tanking, some of the rebuilding, right? You don't want to be in the middle, and the Rockets, after being close but not completely being able to close the deal, tanked, got Ralph Sampson, and then the next season, 1984-1985, which arguably the greatest draft, the 1984 draft, I should say, before the 84-85 season, the greatest draft potentially of all time in NBA history. And the Rockets won a coin toss, got the number one pick, undrafted Hakeem Olajuwon, who had an outstanding rookie season. Didn't get Rookie of the Year because there was a guy also drafted that year. Some guy you may have heard of by the name of Michael Jordan. But strong season overall for the Rockets as the team jumped up to third in the West, 48-34. Although did lose in the first round, 3-2 to the Utah Jazz. Olajuwon scored 37 points in his playoff debut. This definitely led the foundation of things to come. This was the generation, the first year of the Twin Towers, of Olajuwon at 7 foot and Ralph Sampson at 7'4". The two combined for 42.7 points per game and over 22 rebounds and close to 5 blocks a game on that season. A lot of other big names drafted in that 1984 draft, including Charles Barkley, of course. But this was a strong season for the Rockets overall. and the beginning of the Olajuwon era with the Rockets. Can't say in Houston because the Olajuwon era had already started long before that in the city of Houston. But 20.6 points per game, 11.9 rebounds, 2.7 blocks for Olajuwon. In the second year for Sampson, 22.1 points per game, 10.4 rebounds, and 2 blocks. He also had Lewis Lloyd, who averaged 17.8 points per game for the Rockets. So that was 84-85 season. Those are some of the lineups, and honestly, just talking about those lineups, and thanks so much for the comment to go into the lineups, and we can go deeper with it. But thinking about all the different options, the big lineups, the small lineups, the defensive lineups, it really has me excited. So Tom, thanks so much for that. Thanks for you watching this and listening to this wherever you are, however you're listening. Thanks so much. Go ahead and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. You can also follow me on X at Get Sports Strong. This has been Rockets Daily, brought to you by FanArch. Be safe on those roads out there, and God bless.